Walk up to a football stadium. Look at the concrete. Look at the steel. Look at the thousands of empty seats waiting for Saturday. What do you see? If you're a fan, you see a home. You see a cathedral of memory. You see the place where your grandfather took you to your first match. But if you're a chief financial officer or a private equity partner, you see something very different. You see a billboard. Specifically, you see the largest, most under-monetized billboard in the entire sports industry. Some European clubs are selling their stadium name way too cheap, while others have convinced brands to massively overpay. A 2026 report by the sponsor has just priced 75 stadium naming rights across Europe. And today, we're breaking down who's winning, who's losing, and what that means for the future of football business. In a world where TV revenue is flatlining and player wages are exploding, the name on the side of the building is no longer a vanity project. It is the difference between passing financial fair play and facing a points deduction. Welcome to the Stadium Valuation Report. To understand the inefficiency of this market, we need data. We are referencing the comprehensive analysis by the sponsor, a leading sports intelligence firm. They audited 75 venues across the Big Five leagues: England, Spain, Germany, Italy, France, plus key emerging markets like Portugal, the Netherlands, and Turkey. Their findings expose a massive gap in competence. The thesis of the report is brutal. The market is inefficient. Most football clubs treat naming rights as an ego issue or a tradition issue. They approach the negotiation with emotion. The smart clubs, the ones winning the financial war, treat the stadium as commercial real estate. They understand that a name on the side of the building is an asset class. It has a yield, it has a valuation cap, and it has an expiration date. The gap between the clubs who understand this and the clubs who don't is measured in tens of millions of euros lost every single season. We are going to categorize these 75 stadiums into three distinct tiers: the legacy losses, the undervalued, the Premier League tax, the overvalued, and the surgical deals, the fair value. Let's open the books.
First, let's look at the tragedies, the legacy losses. These are the historic giants, mostly in Italy, Spain, and some in the UK, who are bleeding money because they are trapped in the past. There are two types of failure here. Type A, the inflation victim. These are clubs that signed 20-year naming rights deals back in 2005 or 2010. Think about the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal, or the Allianz Arena, Bayern. When those deals were signed, the numbers looked huge, but inflation has exploded since then. The cost of buying a striker has quintupled, but the naming rights deal? It's fixed. These clubs are essentially subsidizing the sponsor. They are giving away millions in media value for a price set in a different economic era. They are locked into legacy contracts that act as a drag on their growth. Type B, the tradition refusionic. These are the clubs that refuse to sell the name at all. Liverpool, Anfield, Manchester United, Old Trafford, AC Milan, San Siro. They argue that the brand equity of the historic name is too valuable to sell. They fear a fan revolt. The sponsor report quantifies this fear. It estimates that a club like Manchester United is leaving upwards of 30 million euros per year on the table by keeping the name Old Trafford. Over a 10-year period, that is 300 million euros. That is 3 Jude Bellinghams. Is the romance of the name Old Trafford worth 300 million euros in lost player recruitment? In the era of strict profit and sustainability rules, PSR, where every penny counts towards the cap, this refusal is starting to look less like tradition and more like financial negligence. They are paying a romance tax to keep the fans happy while their rivals cash the checks. Now, let's look at the winners, or rather the overperformers. This is the Premier League tax. The sponsor report highlights a fascinating anomaly in England. Mid-table clubs, think Bournemouth, Brentford, or Brighton are able to command naming rights fees that dwarf historic European giants in Portugal or the Netherlands. Why? The stadium capacity is small, 11,000 to 30,000 seats. The local market is saturated. So what is the sponsor buying? They aren't buying the physical building, they are buying the broadcast signal. Because the Premier League is broadcast into 190 countries, because it dominates NBC in America and Sky in Europe, the name of the stadium is mentioned thousands of times by commentators globally. We are live here at the Vitality Stadium. Welcome to the G-Tech Community Stadium. The sponsor is paying a premium for that audio-visual footprint. The value of the concrete is low, the value of the TV logo is high. This creates a distortion. A mediocre English stadium is worth more than a cathedral in Lisbon simply because the camera lens points at it more often. These clubs are selling global media impressions disguised as a real estate deal. It is a massive arbitrage play, and for now, the brands are happy to pay it. Then we have the elite, the surgical deals. These are the deals where the valuation is high, but the asset justifies the price. The prime examples are Tottenham Hotspur and Real Madrid. Why are these different? Because these stadiums are not just for football. They are multi-purpose entertainment hubs. When Spotify sponsors the Camp Nou, or if Google were to sponsor the new Bernabeu, they aren't just paying for 25 home matches a year. They are paying for the 365-day experience. They are paying for the Beyoncé concerts, the NFL games, the boxing matches, the conferences.
The sponsor report identifies this as the utilization rate. A traditional stadium is utilized 4% of the year, match days only. The new Tottenham Stadium is utilized 30 or 40% of the year. This allows the club to charge a 365-day premium. The sponsor isn't just targeting football fans, they are targeting music fans, tourists, and corporate clients. This is the gold standard. These clubs have successfully converted a football asset into a city asset, and the valuation reflects that utility. They have diversified the risk. The report also reveals a stark geographical divide, the geography of money. In the North, Germany and UK, the stadium is viewed as a commercial mall. In the Bundesliga, almost every stadium has a corporate name: Allianz, Signal Iduna, Deutsche Bank. The fans accept it. It is culturally normalized. The price is transparent. It is a liquid market. In the South, Spain and Italy, the stadium is viewed as a cathedral. In Italy, crumbling stadiums like the San Siro or the Stadio Olimpico struggle to attract high-value naming rights. Part of this is infrastructure, they are old, but part is cultural friction. Brands are terrified of replacing a saint's name with an insurance company. This creates a massive, untapped opportunity. The report suggests that Italy and Spain are sitting on a gold mine of unmonetized real estate. If they can modernize the venues and break the cultural taboo, hundreds of millions of euros are waiting to be unlocked. In the emerging markets, Turkey and Portugal, clubs like Benfica, Porto, Galatasaray, and Fenerbahce face a different problem. They have huge passion and massive stadiums, 65,000 seats, but they lack the weekly global TV reach of the Premier League. Their valuation is entirely dependent on European nights. They have to sell the dream of the Champions League. A sponsor pays them hoping for those 4 or 5 nights a year where the eyes of the world are watching. It is a high-risk, high-reward valuation model. Why does this report matter right now? Why is 2026 the tipping point? Because the TV money is dying, or at least it has plateaued. The days of double-digit growth in broadcasting rights are over. Sky, Canal Plus, and DAZN are cutting costs. As central revenue stagnates, clubs need to find independent growth. You cannot control the TV deal, that is decided by the league, but you can control your building. Stadium naming rights are the sovereign weapon of the elite clubs. It is the last major lever they can pull to generate $20 or $30 million of pure profit without selling a player.
As financial fair play rules get tighter, the club with the best stadium deal wins. It is no longer about who has the best scout, it's about who has the best real estate agent. So, we are left with a question that will define the next decade of football finance. As the pressure mounts and the romance tax becomes too expensive to pay, who blinks first? Which iconic stadium do you think will be the last one to sell its name in Europe? Will it be Anfield, resisting the millions to keep the Shankly spirit alive? Will it be Old Trafford, clinging to the theater of dreams? Or will it be the San Siro, protecting the legacy of Milan? The report says the money is there. The sponsors are waiting with the checkbooks open. It's only a matter of time before the cathedral becomes the Billboard. Let me know in the comments which stadium you think will never sell out. I'm your auditor. Class dismissed.